Invite a Budget Blinds style consultant to show you how to transform your rooms just by changing your window coverings. Canada's #1 choice for window coverings. Visit budgetblinds.ca today.
And Moses joins us on our desk for our first look at sports, and let's talk a bit about some college sports. The Lakeland Rustlers men's volleyball team are now 4-2 after being handed their first couple losses by the King's University Eagles last weekend.
But there's not a whole lot to worry. You got to pump the brakes. They lost 2 games. It's okay. Taylor Dyer's boys have nothing to worry about, sitting comfortable in second place, Bart, so that's a good thing. A few points behind, or tied for points, that is, with the #1 ranked Kings. Nicole Stilger has more.
For the Lakeland Rustlers, it's business as usual as they regroup after being dealt their first couple of losses against the King's University Eagles last weekend.
Losing 2 matches to a team where I think we're going to be really competing with this year to make make it into playoffs. So at least getting a split would have been nice, but losing 2 hurts a little bit.
Friday's tilt was lost at home in 3 straight sets before heading to Edmonton, where after 4 close sets, Kings would prevail again.
We weren't able to pass the ball really well. I mean, I think we can do a better job with our first contact, and we were out of system a lot, which meant they were in system a whole bunch. So I think that obviously was the difference.
New to the Rustlers and the ACAC this season is outside hitter Sam Duyvai, a New Zealand native who, prior to joining Lakeland, captained Brandon University's volleyball team. He says while the wins so far have been great, you can always learn something from losing.
Without losing, it's hard for you to know where you are or to know how to improve yourself.
Duyvai's experience has made him a force on the team, leading the conference in aces and kills.
He's just shown what he's done his whole career. He was a captain at Brandon University, and he was a Canada West second team All-Star. So he's played in big matches, he's played in big games.
This is also a learning curve for me. Like it's a challenge that I need to face, especially coming from a higher league to this. I don't see any difference. It's just another way to learn about myself and learn about playing with different people.
He's got tons to give to the rest of the group, and he leads by example every day in the gym.
Duyvai and the Rustlers are setting their sights to this weekend, where they will face the Keano Huskies for a pair of home games.
We need to work together and just focusing on one point at a time.
Friday's game time is 8 o'clock, and Saturday's match will start at 3. Nicole Stilger, Newcap Sports.
Well, we're at the 1/3 mark for the Lloydminster Bobcats season, and so far so good. They're sitting first in the league in an 18-2 record. They've won 10 in a row, but don't think the coaches nor the players are easing up on their play.
As much as you want to pat yourself on the back and go, geez, we're 18-2, you can spend the summer doing that. Right now you need to go, we need to be 3-0 this week. Here's what we have coming. Let's focus on this week.
Gord Thibodeau pleased with his team effort as they've shown in the first 20 games, but they say with any extended win streak, bad habits will start to creep in. Of course, Thibodeau wants to nip that in the bud, as he knows just how quickly it can come back to bite them.
We've gotten to be puck fishers. You know, we're watching the puck and we're trying to fish the puck out rather than taking the body and separating the body from the puck. We're not doing that all the time, but our consistency with that has been poor during the streak. And that's not the way we want to play. We want to be physical first, separate man from puck, and then carry on.
As for the players, even with the impressive record, the coaches are keeping them grounded.
What we're trying to get across to them is it doesn't matter if you don't play well next week. You're only as good in this game, you're only as good as your last game.
Now, there are a good number of French-Canadian goaltenders that have definitely played in the NHL. Jacques Plante, Marty Brodeur, and of course Patrick Roy, to name a few. Now, the goaltender for the Lloydminster Bobcats hopes to one day play at that same level. Drew Miller sat down with goalie Alex Leclerc and has more in this week's edition of Beyond the Boards.
For many young kids in Canada, it's become tradition watching hockey on a Saturday night. For goaltender Alex Leclerc, one hockey game in particular really stood out.
It was New Jersey Devils against Montreal, and it was Martin Brodeur, the goalie for New Jersey.
Oh, what a save! Stopped by Martin Brodeur! Save Brodeur!
I just pointed at him as a kid and told my mom, like, I want to be just like him. I want to try that.
Fast forward 15 years, and he's working hard to accomplish this dream.
It was a local goalie equipment for the entire city that I was able to borrow for my first 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, and this is how I got to love wearing the pads on, and right after that I never looked back.
The Lloydminster Bobcats acquired him this season from the Quebec AAA Junior League, having to get used to a new city and a new family all at once.
Oh, Lloydminster has been great to me, especially with my billet family, the Vaughns. They They were really open to me, understood what's a hockey player routine.
Moving from Quebec to Alberta to play in the AJHL, Leclerc did not know what to expect.
Coming here, my first couple of practices, the timing wasn't good, so I was a bit fearing a bit how it is going to be during game. But games has been good, and players has been great in front of me.
NCAA hockey is where Leclerc would like to play and feels the AJHL is a great avenue to get noticed.
It's very hard to caught the eye of the American universities where there's tons of players that apply and are eligible for it. But I think I'm in a great spot, and we have a great opportunity as the RBC Cup host to get exposure and visibility.
Coach Gord Thibodeau says his players appreciate what the 20-year-old netminder brings to the team.
That's great, the confidence he gives you, knowing that you're going to make mistakes during the course of a game, but they're not all necessarily going to end up being bad mistakes because you've got a goalie there that's going to save 80% of them.
It means a lot to me, especially as a goalie. Well, confidence and the mental side is probably more than 50% of your game. If you're sharp mentally, well, a greater chance that your game will go well.
Drew Miller, Newcap Sports.